All right, well, we're live.
Yes.
I'm here with one and only Coach Phil.
That's it.
Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I want to start by thanking you, number one,
Okay.
for the gym that you've created, the environment, the community that I've become a part of, and what a blessing that's been in my life. And as I move forward on my jiu-jitsu journey, there's only going to be one gym that started it, right? There's only going to be one first gym, only one first coach. So on that front, I want to thank you and Jim as well.
Absolutely.
And then on a personal note, I want to thank you for the personal, individual impact you've had on me. Every day coming in here, the way that you show up is legitimately inspiring, and it makes coming into those 12 o'clock classes, like sometimes you don't want to, sometimes you don't want to get there, but it makes it a lot easier and a lot more fulfilling coming in knowing that you're going to be ready to go, ready to rock. So
well, I appreciate
want
that.
to start us by thanking you.
Yeah. Yeah, you contribute to a good-looking class.
Exactly. Every single one, right? Every single class.
That's it.
Yeah, so now that that's gone, we can start on the show.
Yeah, thank you. That was very nice.
Wanted to start on the background, kind of where you're from, what it was like growing up.
Like little baby from?
Well, just like the
back?
general, like high school. Are you from Atlanta?
Somewhat. Yeah, moved around a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was born in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Oh, wow.
My parents were at NAU University, and I was in an anatomy project. And so they quickly moved home after I was born, which is Southern California, Torrance. And so lived there for a few years. My parents were really young.
Yeah.
Really, really young. So they were still trying to figure a lot out. And there was like divorces and moving across country.
Yeah.
And I just played keep up for a few years and bounced around. I actually I went to 13 different schools between first grade and senior year.
What is that like? That's 11 grades? 13 schools and 11 grades?
13
or 12 grades,
schools
I guess.
12 grades, yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so a lot of moving.
That's wild.
Yeah, a lot of relocating. So
different states and everything too?
Yeah, so I lived in when I was 5, we moved from California to Georgia. And so I consider myself, going to your previous question, I consider myself an AT alien.
Yeah.
I've been in Georgia for the majority of my life.
You got that vibe.
Yeah,
the AT alien.
I'm a peach. I'm a peach. So anyhow, but I've lived in New York, Montana, Louisiana, California, Arizona, and here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's quite a conglomeration of places. That's a lot of different vibes too.
It is.
And Torrance, that's where like the OG,
that's
one of the
original.
Gracies, like, right? Didn't they
that's the Gracie Academy.
Heck yeah, man. No wonder. It's in your blood.
I think it was, so it started in a garage. And then it developed.
Yeah, they called it the Torrance Garage, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it developed in the academy, the Green Mats.
Right on.
And that's Hinner and his brother's school. But yeah.
That's badass.
And you got Al Bundy training there. He's a black belt.
Never heard of Al Bundy.
Really? What is it? Married with Children?
Oh, yeah. Modern Family guy? Okay, yeah. The old dude? Yeah.
Yes. So
that's the generation. I remember him from Modern Family. Yeah. I've never seen what'd you say? Married with Children?
Married with Children.
Never seen that one.
Yeah. But anyhow, he's a black belt.
Really?
Yeah. He teaches classes.
What's his name? Russell Brand.
Yeah.
He's purple belt.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing to do now.
It's crazy. Ashton Kutcher.
Tom Hardy is one of the.
Yeah. He's supposedly a stud.
He's like competing and everything.
Yeah. So I've seen some of these guys. So there are some like Hollywood type martial arts studios. Yeah. They don't train like we do.
Yeah.
And so I've seen some of these guys move with some elite level, like Craig Jones, for example, some elite level athletes, and they're not really training jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, they're kind of just there for the Instagram
are,
post.
But, there's just so many guardrails that it's but not Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy's getting after it.
Yeah, I've seen some competition videos of him, and he's a savage.
Yeah,
I guess he's a blue or purple now, but he's legit.
Yeah.
So I guess we kind of touched on jiu-jitsu, but you told me you started at 23.
23.
So
20 years. Yeah.
What was the impetus of your jiu-jitsu? Was that the first martial art? Was that?
No, it didn't. I did some karate as a kid.
Yeah.
But
typical.
as far as functional, like for the purposes of being able to defend myself or fight, then, yeah, jiu-jitsu was the first for me. And how it got started, honestly, I was in a bar, and yeah, right, the beginning of so many stories, and this dude was just talking shit, and I had been in my fair share of scraps growing up.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy was he was bigger than you.
Yeah.
Man. He was just a monster, and I knew the outcome. Like, you didn't have to be a
Yeah.
genius to figure out how an untrained little skinny guy like me was gonna fare against this dude.
But you weren't backing down.
I kind of did. I backed
Oh,
down.
really?
Yeah, and that was the thing. It made me feel really small.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be able, and I was with a lady at the time.
Yeah.
I was kind of talking some shit to her too. I'm like,
You want to be able to protect.
I want to protect my own.
Yeah.
So so the search was on, and I was going to do Aikido. Man, I thought I was just, I've always been a martial arts fan growing up, Bruce Lee and Steven Seagal and all of Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, the ponytail,
Yeah.
like, come on, dude,
Seagal was famous. I mean, he's in the movies, and I guess did Norris do Aikido?
No, Chuck Norris was karate. Actually, Chuck Norris is a black belt. He's a Machado black belt.
It's the cool thing to do now, I'm telling you.
Yeah, he's legit.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt.
I think he got his black belt before I did.
Oh, wow.
Chuck did. Yeah, I mean, it's Chuck. Dude.
Yeah,
Chuck's
he probably got it in like a year, 2 years. No, I'm kidding. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, derailed the story.
No, it's fine. Yeah, and so, but no, Steven Seagal did the Aikido, so I was going to do Aikido. And I bumped into a buddy of mine, and we worked in the restaurant and bar business together, and he was one of those guys that, had dibbled and dabbled in everything, special forces, military, and, he's a guy you listen to about those kind of things. And he said, no, man, do not do Aikido.
Yeah.
He said, I will take a blue belt in jiu-jitsu by my side in any kind of street altercation over a black belt in any other American-taught martial art.
That's profound.
Yeah. And so I said, well, I didn't know what a blue belt was at the time, but I was like, what's a blue belt?
Yeah.
And he's like, that's the second belt. I was like, where do I go?
Yeah, sign me up.
And so he sent me to Jacarea, who was my coach, where I got my black belt, and the Alliance Association. And the internet wasn't like booming then.
Here, let me.
So am I far away?
No, you're good.
Sorry about that.
If it's in the same general direction, it's fine.
Okay.
That's
so
better.
I was driving up and down Roswell Road looking for the spot.
Yeah.
And so I ended up driving up and down 3 times. I finally found it. It was on the second story of a print shop. And went in there, got my ass beat, loved it, knew that it was what I was gonna do for the rest of my life, and the rest is history.
You were on with some savages though. That was like my buddy trains there now, but I remember you telling me that was like a hub.
While I was there, Alliance had won 8 out of the last 10 years world championships.
That's wild. Atlanta too. That's wild.
Well, so Atlanta and the organization as a whole. So not just us. Have a huge team of a lot of world champion black belts down in Sao Paulo, led by Fabio Gurgel. And then Jacare was Fabio Gurgel's coach, but he came to America and settled in Atlanta.
Gotcha.
And Atlanta was technically the headquarters, so you had
some dogs.
You had for sure.
Yeah.
I mean every you had butterflies coming.
Yeah, baptism by fire for you. I mean, you kind of just got thrown in.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think that's the cool part, and I also think that the fact that you kind of had an inkling right away speaks to obviously what you do now as a gym owner. Was it literally like you went in and you're like, okay.
Oh, I knew. Yeah. By the time I had joined, bought a gi, like I was I was a crackhead from day one.
Yeah, that's awesome though. I mean, the joke that I've heard before I started, it was like Jocko Willink's podcast or something, was somebody was doubting jiu-jitsu and he said, how many minutes? Because it's like you need one drill, you need one move, you need one, like 3 minutes and you're pretty much set. That's not as harsh as your experience, but I definitely remember leaving here with my dad being like, yeah, this is it.
Well, you figured it out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it does to a certain degree feel like those people that are spanking you have a superpower.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Like you have a superpower.
Yeah,
and so I think there's 2 mindsets. One is like, oh, they have superpowers, I don't. That's scary. Run. Mm-hmm. And the other mindset is, hey, they have superpowers, so I can have superpowers too.
100%.
Let's go, baby.
That's Tim Kennedy and the podcast that I called here right after I listened to it was Tim Kennedy and Jocko, and Tim Kennedy and went on about how jiu-jitsu is a superpower. I'm like, okay, this is like the 5th time I've heard a dude that I like listen to talk about jiu-jitsu. Let me see what's up. Yeah. So my buddy went here. I told him, hey, what gym did you go to? Called up, and I'm like, okay, we're going.
Who's your buddy?
Hugh Chapman. He
came
here. He came here for a little bit.
He moved to Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Is he still training?
He said, here's a little shout out to SBG, man. He said that he's went to several gyms, but it's very difficult to find a vibe like this.
Really?
So that's a compliment.
It's a compliment for us. But I wish you could find something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, he's still getting after it. We played ball back in the day together. Yeah. So I took
at Virginia Tech?
No, at 643, our travel ball.
Okay.
Sort of like the circuit that we just grew up on. But yeah, I think that's fascinating, and I really think that I've yet to speak to anybody that comes to jiu-jitsu for a month, 2 months, 3 months that isn't like somewhat enamored by it. That leads me to my next question. Why do you think so many people quit after like that sort of 4 to 6 to 8 month range? Like what's the biggest attrition factor in your opinion?
It's hard. Jiu-jitsu is hard. And I think we could go into like the generations and this person and that, I mean, it's just hard.
Yeah.
People, and there's other hard things in life. So I think there's some of that. I think there's some of, to Hugh's point, I think there's some gyms that just, the vibe isn't great. And it's like, hey man, I have the choice tonight, right? I just got off work. I can go out, I can have some drinks, I can have dinner with my friends, or I can go and do something really, really hard.
Get smashed.
Yeah. So I think people tend to opt for the easier, softer option, right? But and then I think there's also a group of people where it's like, they have small goals. Like for me, I don't, if you're gonna start jiu-jitsu, goal is black belt.
Yeah.
Minimum. And for me, I've been a black belt for 9 years.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just life now.
You just got your 3rd stripe?
I did.
That's awesome. Was that cool?
It was.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. So 3rd stripe's cool because it gives you a little independence.
How so?
So as a 3rd stripe black belt, you are recognized by the IBJJF, which you're going to compete in the IBJJF, your first IBJJF tournament this weekend. It's awesome. We need to talk about that too.
Yes, sir.
But they are the official body for jiu-jitsu. And so the IBJJF recognizes 3rd stripe black belts as experienced enough to promote their own black belts.
That's awesome.
So apparently it takes me 9 years as a black belt to recognize what another black belt looks like.
Yeah.
But so there's just some freedom in that. There's some autonomy in that. And it just takes some pressure off of other people in the organization to always sign my guys up and take care of things as far as competitions are concerned. So it's nice.
What's the general time frame for each stripe? Like how long does that take?
First 3 is 3 years.
Okay.
So your first stripe is 3 years, and then 3 years for your 2nd and 3rd as well. Then 4, 5, and 6 are 5 years.
Each?
Yes. And then it goes up to 7 years.
So how long are you doing jiu-jitsu if you're getting a red belt?
I've done the math before.
What is it, like 50-something years or something?
It's a long time.
I mean, that's wild.
It's ridiculous. I'll be dead.
Yeah.
So first of all, there's
I was about to ask if you had your eye on
whether or not you can even get a red belt. Like some of it's reserved for the Gracie family, and I don't really care.
Yeah, you're gonna be doing it until you die.
My goal was the 3rd stripe because like the 3rd stripe is like turning 25. Mm-hmm. Right at 21, you get access to alcohol and all these other venues. Right, 25. Your insurance goes down. You can rent cars, and it's kind of like the last little
adult switch. Yeah, that totally makes sense.
So that's the 3rd stripe for me.
Yeah,
I mean, you can wait and say, all right, well, I want my senior citizen discount. Like that's the equivalent of the red belt, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
you can just wear it around. Yeah, like you wear it around like with a suit.
Yeah,
just so people know.
Right. And in reality, red, I for whatever reason, red is a color that I'm not fond of.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I think
like the black.
Somebody asked me recently what my goal was with jiu-jitsu, and without even thinking, I said to do it in the last week of my life, whenever that is. Yeah. So, because I saw in the Choke documentary, have you seen that?
Yeah.
Dude, Helio Gracie's out there, 85 years old, rolling with Hickson. I'm like, I want to do that. That's literally my goal.
Yeah.
So if a black belt's along the way, then so be it. But yeah, that's
cool.
I think that's
I've
fascinating.
never heard that. It's usually a belt or a win or some sort of event or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the last week, I've always said die on the mat.
Well, that's
I mean,
it's
kind of like.
Yeah, I don't know how your wife and kids feel about that. Yeah, you might be like every time you go to class, they're like, well, we'll see. I don't know.
You know, hopefully I have a few more years. You know,
that's funny.
I mean, I'm thinking more in my 80s or 90s. You know, but I feel bad for whoever gets that last choke.
Yeah,
you know? It's like I took his last breath.
You know what's funny is that's definitely not funny. I guess that's sad, but that's definitely happened. Like I'm sure that's happened. Like people have been messing around at some point. Have you seen some videos? There was one video of this dude. It's like a 45-year-old 200-pounder in some New York class, like slammed like a teenager.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the teenager ended up dying, but he ended up getting like seriously injured.
Yeah.
Which was wild. How do you feel about stuff like that? Like, do you think that's a culture thing of the gym, or is that just more individual?
I mean, some of it's freak accident. You know, obviously the individual's fault.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it's like, you know, if you're my training partner and you get hurt, it's my fault.
Yeah.
Right? If you're my training partner and you get hurt, it's also your fault.
Yeah.
You know? You know, and I think that's one of the things that if I could make an impact, it would be, you know, having people communicate better on the mats. Mm-hmm. And just tell, you know, so I mean, I can't tell you how many conversations I've had. You know, so and so went rough. It's like, well, did you talk to them about it? Did you tell them in the middle of them going rough, like, hey man, this is a little much for me? No. So you thought the only way to deal with this was to come and tell on this person afterwards. Like, why don't you holler at them the next time, or maybe tell them, hey, I don't want to roll with you because the last time was rough. You know. And I think a lot of that, you know, just open communication starts to de-escalate. And I don't think, you know, most of these are not with malicious intent.
Yeah,
right?
you would hope.
Yeah, I would hope. I mean, you know, the Sinistro event, right? Oh, so Sinistro did this roll, and Sinistro's a black belt. We actually trained together a little bit here at Alliance HQ. And so he did this roll, and it was a role that I think Leo Vieira popularized. And he was one of my favorite competitors back in the day. And so anyhow, the guy just moved his head wrong, posted wrong, paralyzed him.
Really?
And so Sinistro ended up getting caught up in this lawsuit, and it was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact number, but it was like $48 million.
Holy cow.
And a lot of it came to be because Henner Gracie was brought in as a professional witness and said that it was a dangerous move.
Really?
And there was debate on whether or not this guy was a beginner, and you know, obviously I wasn't there, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But we did see the video, and it seemed like more of a freak accident than anything else.
Really?
You know, I mean, it's a rough sport.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, people get hurt in any sport. I'm sure you've seen injuries in baseball
100%
throughout the years, and
100%.
you know that's not supposed to be a contact sport.
Exactly.
Right?
Getting hit in the head by fastball, any number of things.
Yeah, but going back to your cultural thing, I do think that as a coach, it is your responsibility to check the temp in the room. You know, you can see things escalate. Yeah. You know, if you know, and then of course you always have veto power too. Like if that's I saw that. That was a 240-pound maybe guy with a 140-pound maybe guy. You know, like if that 240-pound dude is not a safe roll, and you know that, there's no reason that they should be going against that guy.
100%.
Right.
That makes sense.
Now, safe roll, completely different. I put you with my wife last week.
Yeah, that was scary in its own right. I was like,
that was funny, man.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. I was having a good time watching.
She's legit. I mean, because we were working on mountain. I was telling somebody earlier this week, or maybe last week, that even when she gets up, I don't know how much more I weigh than her, probably 100+ pounds. Yeah. Even when she gets up to high mount, that's just a testament to jiu-jitsu too. I was like, it was hard. Like, legitimately a struggle for me to escape and get to different positions, which I appreciate you even trust me enough to do that. That was
scary. I did. I mean, I've rolled with you. I've seen you roll you've been training here for a while now. Yeah. So there were smaller guys that were much rougher in that class. Yeah. I figured she was in good hands.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned competition. I know that you've competed. There's actually a pretty cool picture of you
Yeah.
Looks like you just won something up there. So what was your competition career like? And if you can speak on the jiu-jitsu part, and then after that, did you compete in MMA?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. If you could start with jiu-jitsu and then kind of talk about your competition career.
Yeah. So I did my first jiu-jitsu competition relatively early, maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks.
Wow.
So my coach was hosting a tournament. He was putting on a tournament. And he was like, man, I think you should compete. I was like, really? And, so part honored.
Yeah.
Right. That he would say that to me or recognize my jiu-jitsu like that. And then, part nervous as hell and doubtful and all of that. Right. And, so I did. I followed my coach's advice and went out there and I did the thing. Yeah. And I remember my first match ever was in the gi.
Yep.
And I won.
Oh heck yeah.
And I don't know how we grabbed a hold of each other and held super tight and kind of stumbled around the mat until I think he fell down and I got 2 points for it. And so I won on points.
Right on.
And I remember because I had grabbed the gi and squeezed so hard that I couldn't open my hands. Yeah. So my hand, everybody's trying to dap me up afterwards, give me high fives. I'm just like clubbing them. And I remember I had another match in the gi to go, and then I ended up having 2 following that no gi as well. And I lost my second match in the gi, went out no gi, won my first match no gi, lost my second match no gi. So and I ended up with second place on both of them.
Hey, there you go.
And so
first tournament, that's not bad.
Yeah. And so I stayed pretty active. White, blue belt, purple belt. The pinnacle of my gi jiu-jitsu career was winning pans as a purple belt. Is that it right there? No, that was actually that black belt. Yeah, that was a comeback. That was I went against one of the other local coaches here.
Oh, cool.
Other local black belts.
Is that a super fight? It looks like there's
that was a super fight. Right, that was at Center Stage.
Cool.
Off of Spring Street in Atlanta, and it was a really cool experience. I had come out. I mean, I hadn't competed in 4.
You just had to test the waters a little bit.
Yeah,
let them know.
Got it. Yeah.
Let them know.
Plus, I was just starting to date my wife, and I was like,
she needs to come see what's up.
See what's up.
And, that's a good way to impress. I mean,
it worked out. It worked out. And
so pans. Go back to that real quick if you don't mind. What's that for people that don't know?
Yeah, so there's three majors in jiu-jitsu. You got pans, worlds, and moongiles as far as the gi is concerned. I guess you can consider Europeans, and I don't know, maybe that's shifted, but back then those were the 3.
Yep.
And so I went out to California, competed at pans. I was a featherweight purple belt.
Right on.
And was fortunate enough to be able to submit all of my opponents.
Oh. How many matches was that?
I only had 3.
Wow.
I only had 3.
3 submissions.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I was in masters. But yeah, flying triangle, arm bar.
Flying triangle?
Yeah.
That's elite.
And then a collar choke. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's cool. You remember the exact.
Well, I used to love flying triangles.
Yeah, I don't know, but I might be a little too big for that one.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. You got to find the guy. Do it on John.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Massive.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I can get up there.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be able to hold you up if you do, though.
That's sick, though. I think it's cool that you remember the exact submissions, too.
Yeah. It was, it was a big deal,
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the pinnacle. Won a couple IBJJF opens, just kind of local type tournaments and some other stuff. And then MMA, 2-0 in MMA. Not a huge MMA career. Had the opportunity to fight. Yeah, had the opportunity to fight for a state title, featherweight state title, amateur, and I won that via Kimura in the 5th round.
Cool. Was it a 5-round fight?
It was a 5-round fight. On. And that was the first time I got to experience dropping somebody with a head kick.
How was that?
That's a cool feeling.
I was about to...
I think I like it more than submitting somebody.
Really?
Yeah, it's just cool.
Just land them on. Yes,
yeah, because like when you land it right, it doesn't even feel that hard.
Just
yeah, it's just like you hit the sweet spot, and it's like did you watch Livia's fight?
No, I was just about to bring that up. I haven't seen the video yet.
Yeah, so
Jamie, can you pull that up?
Yeah, Jamie. So So Olivia is one of our amateur Muay Thai fighters. Just
I heard it was gnarly.
Oh, it was so awesome. It was so awesome. And there was just like so much build up to it. And the other girl was, let's just say she was lacking some
Yeah,
professionalism.
sure. That's a good way to put it.
And there's, this is like an amateur Muay Thai fight, right?
Yeah.
So there's shin pads and there's headgear. Like it's hard to knock somebody out and all that, right? But she just hit it right in the sweet spot. And you can just see the body.
I still need to watch the video. I've heard
man.
like 5 or honestly probably more than that. People talk about how legit it was.
Oh, that was such a great night.
I
So
see.
we brought seven competitors. 4 were in jiu-jitsu, 2 Muay Thai,
Yep.
1 MMA. We had 6 wins with 5 finishes.
Elite.
I mean, that's great.
SVG, baby.
That was an awesome night.
That's a good question. I wasn't going to ask that, but how does that make you feel as one of the people that's kind of led the charge in those 2 gyms, Buford and Atlanta? Athens also was represented, but for you to be like the head coach and co-founder of those gyms, how does that make you feel?
Oh, I mean, it's awesome.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I think, part of me over the years tries to detach myself emotionally from the win-loss thing, because you could just get really caught up in it. Yeah, and it's just an emotional roller coaster.
Sure.
But it's hard. It's hard to detach, And then on nights like that, you don't even
Yeah.
care. It's
How many
like,
people were there?
At the venue?
At the Tannery, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I've never been. I couldn't make it to the fights, but I've never been.
Yeah, I mean, it was packed.
And probably mostly SBG people too, which is cool.
Packed. I mean, there's a good showing from some other. I mean, definitely, it's our home turf.
Yeah.
So there's huge representation for sure. But ATT Team Liba brought out a big crew. They had, I think, more guys competing that night than we did.
Oh wow.
I know we went 4 against them.
Wow.
So, did I say 0-4 against them?
Did we go on 4?
Yeah, we did. No, we went 4-0.
Oh, I was about to say.
They went. They went.
Like, I don't know how the math works
Yeah.
out on that. 5.
Just switch
One,
those.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah. No, I do. It feels amazing.
That's awesome.
It feels amazing.
When you kind of jumped over it, when did I'm assuming that jiu-jitsu was kind of your primary focus in MMA.
Yeah.
When did you? I mean, you obviously took some striking. You landed a head kick, obviously. So how did that kind of morph into your martial arts training? Did you still focus primarily on jiu-jitsu? Did you start switching it up a little bit? I
started training Muay Thai shortly after jiu-jitsu.
Okay. Double barrel.
Yeah, I mean, I got my bearings a little bit in jiu-jitsu and then branched out.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I've always loved jiu-jitsu. I'm a grappler.
Yeah.
I mean, striking's fun. Like I said, that feeling of dropping dropping somebody.
Never done it.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like grappling.
Yeah. That's where your heart is. There you go. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I've taken a couple Muay Thai classes here. There's definitely, I got to give some props to the coaches here. First off, that fitness kickboxing class, have you taken one of those classes?
Yeah, it's legit.
That's legit.
It's hard.
Like, very difficult workout. And then the Muay Thai class is also very difficult, very fun. It's a different type of martial art in a lot of ways. Obviously, it's a striking as opposed to grappling. But something about jiu-jitsu, too, for me, I don't know what it is, but it's got my heart. It's got my focus.
It's just like putting your hands on somebody.
And it's so weird because I describe it to my dad, for example. He was like, let me get this straight. I'm 57. You want me to go in there and fall and like land hard and all that? That's the last thing I want to do. And then we get here to first class. The first thing we do is learn how to tech fall.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, it's just funny how that works. But then obviously you become more comfortable with it. You start moving better. What would you say if somebody was on the fence about starting jiu-jitsu? What would your advice to them be? I mean, girl or guy, because this is also a common misconception that it has to be a guy.
Honestly, I think jiu-jitsu is better served for women.
Mm-hmm.
But that's an aside. What would I say? I mean, it's hard to sell somebody on it. It's one of those things you have to experience,
Yeah.
But I think everybody should do jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
I think really, because I think that it is one of the best life preparedness tools that one could practice.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's a lot of things learned on the mat that transfer directly into life. They transfer
100%.
directly into relationships and work. And I just, and I don't know if it can be replicated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think it's like, oh, well, just find something you like. It's like,
Yeah.
There's levels though.
There's something visceral. Like it's almost, jiu-jitsu turns intangible life lessons into tangible things that you notice almost in the moment on the mat.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a way that you would put it, but for me, that's exactly what it's like. I'll kind of do a certain move. I listen to Jocko Willink all the time, and he talks about it damn near every podcast where it's like jiu-jitsu is life. Jiu-jitsu is life. It's representative of life. It's representative of life. And I could not agree more.
Yeah.
I think it's...
And it checks so many boxes, right? Yeah. Like you got to, if you want a healthy body, right? If you care about the way you're living life and the way that you show up, right? Health is important.
Yep.
So you can gain health, right? You need to do a hard thing, right? You need to have
100%.
something in your life that's hard so that when you face hard things and other aspects, maybe things that matter more to you in life, you're at least mentally, you've walked through hard things on the reg.
Yep.
And then relationally, I've been seeing a lot of research that's just come out about loneliness and how loneliness is having an adverse effect on middle-aged men more so than lack of health. Yeah. Right? It's leading to health issues. Yeah. And so it's like, man, here you have all of that plus a community.
100%.
And the thing of it is I've got some college buddies, some guys that I've had as friends for 20, 25 years. But outside of that very, very small group, everybody I know trains. Hey,
that's the way it should be. This is you're rolling into a new environment. You're gonna trust your friends. That's a fact. Which is also the self-defense. I mean, kind of speaks for itself. Right. It's just so profound, especially given the way cities, particularly in the world, is right now. We need to know how to protect ourselves, in my opinion. Yeah. Jiu-jitsu, MMA, your journey so far, what are a couple of, or the lesson that you most align with, like the biggest lesson from your journey so far in martial arts? It's kind of a loaded question, but
yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, and I'm sure whatever I say is probably it could be modified 10 times over, right? I'll be in the shower at night like I should have, So I'll start with the low hanging fruit, the MMA. So when I started jiu-jitsu, I didn't even know the UFC existed, right? So I was looking for martial art. I was looking for self-defense. I was looking for confidence. I was looking for a secret. I was looking for superpowers, right? And didn't know if I was going to find them. And so then I found it, and I'm like, man, this is awesome. And then you start to learn about the UFC, and Pride Championship was going on back then in Japan, which was awesome. Yeah. And so you're starting to see all these things. And so as a purple belt, I was, let's give it a test. Yeah. Let's see how it stacks up. And so I remember my first fight. It was in Peachtree City, so it was south of the airport, and it was an outdoor venue.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. It was a cool little outdoor auditorium, and then they had the corners were like trailers. Yeah,
that is cool.
And so you had to walk from your trailer, and I had so many people in my corner, but I remember getting in the cage, and I could distinctly remember the little bolt that holds the cage closed. Yeah, like that sound still.
And that's crazy. That's cool though.
Yeah, and I remember everything. Go time. Every part of my body wanted to climb out of that cage. Like I was not one of those like. So I was like, man, fuck, I want out.
Not like
like telling my buddies, hey, give me a hand. Yeah. But I had so many people there supporting me, and like we worked so hard for it. Of course, I'm gonna do it. But I remember looking across and seeing the guy, and I was like, man, he's fucking bearing me everywhere. We didn't. It was kind of the Wild West back then. So weigh-ins was a little sketchy, little suspect, and we didn't even do a face-off or anything. I didn't even see him weigh in.
No USADA.
Yeah, nah. And so I look across, and I'm like, man, he's taller than me, he's wider than me, and he beat the hell out of me for the first little while. I tried to go an arm bar, and I felt like he was trying to slam me out of the arm bar, so I bailed on it, and I went knee bar. He rolled out of the knee bar and ended up on bottom. And then with like, I don't know, man, 5-10 seconds left in the round, I ended up catching a triangle.
That's awesome.
And I was man, it was awesome.
Yeah,
awesome,
especially
awesome.
when you're almost flatlining, and
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah. No, jiu-jitsu saved my life that day.
There you go. Hey, yeah, plenty
maybe
of stories
life
like
is
that.
a little dramatic, but yeah, it saved the day for sure.
mean, there's a lot to be said about using jiu-jitsu in the final seconds of a match that you're getting smashed in.
Yeah.
And then coming out on top.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's awesome.
It was awesome.
Making me want to get into MMA. I don't know.
It's fun, man. You know, if there's no reason why not to try it.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know? So then that was, God, when was that? 2007, maybe? And then I had a long hiatus and had been mashed up a couple times and fell apart. And then I'm always juggling lots of different businesses. And so timing was an issue. And then finally we ended up with this opportunity. And I don't really remember how it ended up being a title. Like, I think I was coming in to face the title holder who then dropped out. And I don't know how the title still stayed there because I think you got to fight the guy to get the. It was really weird. But anyhow, he ended up dropping out, and we ended up getting a last-minute replacement. And it was I don't remember the exact date. It was like early January, and it was a huge snowstorm.
Yeah.
Fire marshal was putting a max on people, so I had to sneak my brother in through the back door to get him to watch the fight.
That's awesome.
And yeah, so it was that was pretty cool.
Did you win that? That's the one you got the head kick in the.
Yeah, I got a head kick early, and he recovered. Fought back, and then I thought I was winning the whole fight, but apparently we were going in the 5th round 2-2.
Okay.
And so I ended up finishing with a Kimura, and
badass.
yeah, no, I felt
badass.
It was awesome.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome, man. That's what's it like being a coach, MMA coach. That's got to be a little different, but also pretty exciting.
The MMA coaching is awesome. It's a little different. So I'm actually more nervous and leading up to the fight as a coach than I am myself, because I think there's a certain degree of confidence of your own personal preparedness.
Sure.
There's a certain degree of confidence knowing that it's on you. Like, I'm the one that's going to make this happen. Right. Whereas as a coach, you're letting go. Like, you have done everything that you can do to prepare your athlete for that moment. And then of course in between rounds, you can sometimes say something magical that gets somebody fired up. Other times it's just keeping them on course, giving them a tip or two. But it's all on them. That's that athlete's moment. Yeah. And so, but there's you're so connected to them, you're so attached, you're such a part of their story that it's like, I want that for them more. Sometimes I feel like they want it for themselves, some of them,
Absolutely. But that's like part of your role as a coach is like instilling that in them, because the self-doubt can get in there and you're looking for it, and then you got to be the one, or hopefully you are the one to refill that cup.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, it was cool to watch the most recent Amanda fight. Just also hearing your voice in the background was kind of funny. Just something about it. It was just cool to see that whole spectacle, and that was also a great fight. She
was awesome.
Yeah, freaking savage.
Awesome. So that's actually, from what I heard today, that the YouTube video of her fight is the most viewed YouTube video of any Invicta fight that night.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I mean, that fight was legit.
It was so awesome.
It was very fun to watch. Very fun to watch. I was
she's a warrior.
Thoroughly impressed.
You want to talk about, I mean, not only is she's got the full package.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, she trains like an animal. Her mindset's awesome. She doesn't forget about some of the things that some of the guys that train like warriors do, like recovery.
Yeah.
So everything's dialed with her nutrition, and she's a nerd about it.
Yeah.
So I can be more hands off and just focus on the training aspect and getting her ready. But then leading up to she's a sponge.
Yeah.
Right? You could tell her something and she's like, oh, like this. And you're like, yeah, exactly like that. And then she's using it live moments later.
That's awesome.
So it really is incredible, her ability to retain, like learn and retain and then implement information is on another level. And then during the fights, like she listens.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the fight was a war.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So going into the corner between the second and the third, it was close. I felt like they had open scoring. That's right. So we knew.
Yeah.
So it was 9. You know.
Yeah.
We both won and lost a round.
She won the first round, correct?
Yeah. Amanda won the first round. She got a nice drop.
Yeah.
Hit her with a nice cross, and dropped her and just had an awesome round.
Yeah.
All in all, second round, a little closer. They gave it to her opponent, and so we came out in third round knowing like we had to do work.
Yeah.
And her calf kicks were working for her.
Dude,
she was already You could already see
her opponent switched her stance like late.
Yeah.
She was like, I can't take any more of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And her leg was visibly on the camera, like you could see the bruise. I mean, that was.
Oh, it was terrible.
Legit.
I think one more and she wasn't.
She was literally like. Barely doing it. That was.
She did smart. You know, her opponent Sayuri, I think. Was
from
her name.
Where's she from?
Colombia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a great opponent. Very good fighter.
Yeah, she's awesome. She switched to southpaw, used the open stance to set up her single leg.
Yeah.
And ultimately stole the round.
Yeah.
But man.
But Amanda's not done. That's for sure.
Oh no.
She's got
her stock went up even with that.
100%.
For sure.
Which is awesome.
That was a problem for me because she was finishing her fight so quickly.
Yeah.
Right. The fight before that was 19 seconds, I think.
KO or.
Yeah. Well, I mean TKO, but yeah. I mean I think she knocked her out and woke her back up.
Yeah.
And then the ref. So.
The ref's like, okay.
It was nasty, but like it's hard to learn from that as a coach.
Yeah.
And as an athlete, right? Like we need minutes. Like we need time in there.
Yeah.
And as a strawweight female, it's hard for me to find training partners for her locally, right?
100%.
So really the only way to see if this stuff is working is in the fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was nice to have some tape.
Yeah.
You know, it's finally nice to have something to work on with her. And
instead of like, hey,
just
try to do it in less than 15 seconds this time.
rinse and repeat. You know? So we've been back in the lab doing a lot of work.
That's awesome.
And we're excited about what's coming up.
Very cool. No, she's a savage and definitely representing SBG pretty well. You mentioned businesses that you were juggling.
Yeah.
And the fact that, I mean, we've already mentioned it, SBG Buford. How long ago did that open?
We founded SBG. It wasn't called SBG, but we founded the gym in 2010.
Oh, wow.
We've been there for 13 years.
Right on. I didn't know that. I thought it was a lot less than that.
Yeah.
And then now SBG Atlanta's thriving and busting a little over a year.
14 months.
Right on. So entrepreneurship, that's a strong passion of mine. Something that I do landscape right now for myself. So technically an entrepreneur, but definitely something that I want to continue to pursue. What's that journey been like for you? Why do you think that you chose entrepreneurship as opposed to going to another gym or?
Entrepreneurship's been in my blood. Third generation that I know of entrepreneur.
That's awesome.
My grandfather was a pilot. He flew for United until he retired, but also ran a travel agency and restaurants.
Yeah.
And my dad owned a European car dealership.
Cool.
And got into insurance and now does a staffing agency that he runs. And then for me, I mean, ever since I was in high school, I was doing something, right? And making $1 out of 15 cents.
Yep.
But
that's a good ROI right there.
Yeah. I wish I could put that on repeat.
I was about
right?
to say that's pretty legit, man.
But no, so I got into real estate. I got my license pretty young.
Yep.
And although your license is hung in a broker's office and you technically work, I mean, you're running your own business.
100%.
Right? If you want to eat, you got to get out in there and make it happen, right? So, I've always loved that vibe. I tell you the hardest thing for me transitioning to this type of business, managing people. I've always been a solo entrepreneur.
Sure.
Just, hey, I'm gonna crush. I eat what I kill. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And this has been an adjustment for me. I mean, we have over 30 employees.
Yeah,
now.
and that's
wild.
You got to learn how to deal with it.
So that's been cool. It's been a lot of growth, been a lot of learning, and that's been a whole nother new chapter in my life. That's been a lot of fun. Currently, we still do some real estate investing.
Yep.
Got a couple rental properties.
Right on.
And then we have the 2 gyms, and we do some small business startup investing and things like that. But
that's awesome. I mean, I think that similar to me. I mean, I had baseball going on in high school. that was kind of like my main job, and I always wanted to make money.
Yeah.
So my parents were like, "Look, you're gonna have to figure it out." So I was like, "Well, let's see what's a way that I can make money but also go to practice and everything." So I just started doing lawns, and I was like, "Wait a second, I can make money and like not have anybody tell me when I got to show up, and I can do whatever I want." Blah blah blah. So, it's definitely, I don't know if it's in my blood, but it's definitely something that I love. And real estate, actually, that's what I got my degree in from Virginia Tech. And then
really?
we'll see when this episode drops. We're about maybe a week away, my brother and I, for closing our first deal.
Okay, nice.
Estate. So
what are you guys trying to do?
So it's an 8-unit property, or it's 8 units down in Leesburg.
Okay.
And originally we were gonna purchase it and then finance it and own and operate ourselves, but we're younger. We don't have the income experience and the work history to get a favorable loan, especially not in this environment. So switched the strategy up. We're trying to wholesale it. We're very, very close to getting that done. So we'll see.
That's
hopefully,
cool.
Hopefully the real estate will start for us as well. So that's cool to hear that you are in that endeavor. I mean, passive income, in my opinion, is one of the
mailbox money.
Yeah, exactly. Best way to create generational wealth. What are some lessons, similar to the jiu-jitsu question, what are some lessons? Because entrepreneurship, I mean, you could probably write a book on lessons that you learn in that. Like, what are some lessons that you've learned? Another loaded question.
Yeah, I think I dodged the last loaded question.
Well, you did it well. Okay.
Lessons, so many lessons, right? I think the thing that's probably benefited me more than anything else is always trying to make a win-win. Always trying to make it. I think there's people you never split the difference, right?
Yeah.
Or like, you can be super, super aggressive. You can bully people. You can, but I think that the world is smaller than most people realize, and relationships are important.
Absolutely.
So I think trying to find ways to create win-wins for people is important. And then I think the other thing is just find whatever it is you are most passionate about and chase the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Because being successful in business, talk about a hard thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had more doubts and really hard moments, I think, in business. And, I've pulled from what I've learned on the mats and been able to walk through that. But I think I've had more hard times in business than anything else. And it's the passion that keeps you going. You know, it's the love of what you're doing. And I think that can be in different things. Some people just love people. Right?
Yeah,
so it's like,
absolutely.
you've got a whole world of things you can
100%.
do. So it doesn't have to be like you love jiu-jitsu or whatever. But that's, chase your passion.
Yeah, you can make lemon out of it.
It sounds cliche, but it's true.
I mean, you've literally done that. You love jiu-jitsu, you've fell in love with it, and you wanted to make money, and you've had that entrepreneurial spirit, and you merged them. And now you've got 2 thriving gyms, which is, freaking awesome. And it's also cool, I'm sure you're aware of this, but just the impact. I don't know how many people are in Buford. How many, what is it like? Probably more than here, right? Members?
We have a...
This place...
Before I say it.
I've been going here since August or July. So not even a year. And I like the growth of this place has been incredible.
Confirmed. We have over 1,000 students,
which is freaking awesome. So
that just happened this week. So we've been gunning for 4 digits for a while.
Yeah, man.
And so we just did that.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Thanks.
That's seriously cool. Because then, and the thing about jiu-jitsu, obviously most things in life, but jiu-jitsu and martial arts and training and stuff like that, it extrapolates. It definitely has a trickle-down effect because the dad or the mom that's in here training, they are more happy when they go home, and then they're treating their family better. They're better able to protect their family, and so on and so forth. So I think that's freaking awesome. It's also very cool to see that you've been able to merge, your words yourself, entrepreneurial endeavors that's been in your blood, and the thing you love. So I think that's a great lesson for everybody. I appreciate you sharing that. That's
for sure.
That's awesome. I got 2 more questions, really. One of them's kind of funny. I kind of stole it. You know who Tim Ferriss is?
Yeah.
He has a question that he asks a lot of people. If you had a billboard, what would it say? That everybody in the world would see. What would it say?
Yeah.
So the modern day version of that is, if you had an Instagram post that everyone in the world would see, what would it be and what would it say?
So my initial thought is a very, very sarcastic one. So let me think. Yeah.
Probably you doing the flying triangle.
No, it's just
Hashtag get some.
Yeah. No, just if you're driving slow, stay out of the fast lane. Right?
Yeah, something simple. There you go. That's my
What would be my message? Train jiu-jitsu, man. Train jiu-jitsu.
I thought that was gonna be it. And I was totally true. I was like, I think he's gonna say train jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, just train and don't quit at blue belt.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Is that where you find most people quit?
So either they quit early, like right as they graduate. So our foundation, we call foundations, our beginner program, as you know, you went through that. So they quit in that transition, like early into intermediate, because as you know, foundation is a lot of reps.
Yeah.
There is some little bit of built-in aliveness in there, but then when you transition, it's like, oh man, like we're actually doing it now.
Yeah, this is
no so bar. I think that initial shock, which we try to ease people into as best as we can.
I think y'all do a great job of that.
But I think that creates a little bit of fall off, and then I think there's certain people that don't see the black, or they don't see the last week of their life being on the mat. They don't have a long-term vision. So I think that first nod, I got my blue belt. I'm not a white belt.
Oh, okay,
anymore,
that becomes like the end for them almost. Yeah. Note to self: don't quit as a blue belt.
No, because it's just getting started.
Yeah.
It really is, and that's the thing. It's just jiu-jitsu takes a lot of time.
Oh yeah.
It takes a lot of time to understand it, and then and to make it a part of you. You know, I mean, you know how it is, right? You learn a technique, and then you see the situation where you can apply the technique, and you don't even think about it until afterwards.
You're like, just like you're me in the shower.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a second, I should.
Yeah, and then you think about it before, but the brain body connection just isn't
100%.
there, so you're still late.
Yeah.
And then you think about it before and have the connection so you can implement it.
Yeah.
But when jiu-jitsu gets really, really fun is when you're not thinking about the move. You just do it.
Yeah.
And you're more thinking about the strategy, right? What are you trying to set up? And then also, what are you trying to set up, right? So I got to be aware of that and look for counters.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, like, once it becomes a game, it's like you can't live without it.
Yeah. Well, see, we did that drill the other day, or maybe it was a couple weeks ago, the chest drill. I had never done that before.
Yeah.
And
move.
Dude, that really exposes, like, it exposed me. Because I'm sitting here and I'm like, wait a second. I actually don't know what I would do in this situation in a live roll. And the only reason that I do it is because, like, I just, in the moment, I'm, like, relying on the athleticism or something. It just exposes you. But I'm sure, obviously, when you get in that position, having done jiu-jitsu for 20-plus years, you're like, okay, right here, go.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other part of jiu-jitsu. Like, I'm not done.
Yeah.
I've been doing jiu-jitsu 20 years, and still, I'm learning.
Yeah.
Every week.
Yeah.
I walk away with something new.
Which is awesome.
Which is crazy, right? Because,
perpetual learner.
Yeah, but you have to because it gets boring.
Yeah. Well, there's I don't know if it was you, but I heard somebody talking about when they got their black belt, their coach was like, welcome to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Which is like, wait a second. It's like 10 years down the line. But no, it's just a different level. And the chess analogy is I've played chess a little bit, and it's 100% the closest thing that I can, like, relate to other people. Just imagine chess except with a resisting human.
Yeah.
And then, because you're, like you said, you're trying to think of when somebody just starts chess, they're thinking about, okay, move the pawn, move the knight, move the bishop, whatever.
Right.
When you start getting better, you're like, okay, what's your opening strategy? What's the middle game? Like, how am I going to? And so then it just becomes way more fun.
Concepts like controlling the middle.
100%. So I mean, there's levels to it, and I think that's fascinating, and I'm kind of glad you said that because I literally was like, I think I know what he's going to say. Yeah. The last question. This could also be a little loaded. The show is called the Tyro Experience, and I've spoken to you about it. But the Tyro it means novice and beginner, and it stems from the word TIRO in Latin, which meant young soldier, somebody that just entered the military. And the reason I call it this is because in many ways I feel like a tyro. I feel like a novice, a beginner, whether that be in jiu-jitsu, real estate, life, relationships, literally just like manhood. I just feel like there's just infinite things that I need to learn.
Yeah.
So Tyro Experience. I'm about to be 24. I'm assuming most of the people that are going to listen to this are going to be around the same age. That's really the mission of the podcast is to get people on that, like yourself, that have been through much more life than me, done a lot of cool things, and then try to extract a little information and some lessons from you so that I can then relate to other people like me. Yeah. So that being said, that was long-winded. That being said, what do you know? This is, I'll maybe be a little bit more long-winded. So I went to Virginia Tech, played baseball. We had a mental performance coach called Brian Kane that would come to us and teach us stuff. And he said the $1 million question, the question you should ask every single important person, every single person that you want to learn something from, $1 million question is, what do you know now that you wish you knew then? So in this instance, what do you know? Yeah, see, exactly.
Oh, so many things.
$1 million question, right? So what do you know now that you wish you knew when you were a 24-year-old young man entering the world?
So I don't.
And you can be as long-winded as you'd like.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Right. So it really is a loaded question. I mean, you could talk about skill development, right? Because you got to have a skill, right, of some sort. Mm-hmm. And I think becoming really, really good at something puts you head and shoulders above the rest, right? For example, I think here, what we do here is it's hard to compete with us.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, I think, get lost in like the competition thing, mm-hmm. or they just go too soft. Like, it's really hard to find the middle.
Yeah.
And so developing a skill, finding something you're passionate about, developing a skill, and then most importantly, surround yourself with really, really good people.
Yep.
And for us here, I think the thing has been is like we've recognized good people, we've hired good people. Sometimes a stretch financially, to make it work for the business.
Yep.
And but good people are just so important.
Yeah.
Especially if you can get people that have walked before you in whatever field.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always been involved with the business group. So this
mm-hmm.
is actually one of the first times I'm in the process of shopping for a new business coach.
Business group meaning like a group of people that kind of meet together and talk about it.
Yep.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yep. So, and there's, SBG has that. So we've got a group of guys, and we're always bouncing ideas off each other.
That's awesome.
I was talking to the head coach and owner in SBG Alabama today.
Right on.
About some marketing stuff. So, we're always bouncing ideas, but I also like to have a mentor.
Yeah.
And so now it's in this business, it's harder and harder for me to find somebody that's, above what we're doing.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to look in other verticals to see.
I was gonna. Are you trying to find a coach or have you been working with a coach specifically up until now that's been predominantly martial arts gyms?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And now you're trying to.
Yeah, we've done specifically jiu-jitsu, mixed martial art, that kind of thing. I've been in, more of your traditional karate type organizations. I've been with marketing groups that's just based on like a part of the business, mm-hmm. like marketing or sales. But now I'm at the point now where I want more of like from a leadership standpoint, like how do I be an effective boss? How do I be an effective leader? How do I be an effective CEO?
Yeah. Up until this point, has it been worth the investment?
Oh, hands down.
That's awesome.
100.
But I'm sure it hasn't been cheap. I mean,
no, every single time I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You see those zeros on.
You're like, wait, do I really need this?
Yeah, man, I can figure that out, right? Read a couple books.
Yeah,
but
read a couple books.
It's the energy, man.
Yeah.
It's the, there's so much value in what you're doing right now. Tapping into people that have walked before you and done some things. Like, you've got to surround yourself with awesome people.
That's awesome.
And never stop learning.
Yeah.
Never stop learning.
Something I just thought about, actually. Perhaps there's a little correlation between the chess, the jiu-jitsu, and what you just said, because we talked about it, like the white belt, the foundations, the moving the pawn, moving the bishop. That's the first level.
Uh-huh.
And maybe that's the correlation between just the martial arts gym, just the martial arts marketing, and now you're kind of reaching that next level where you're thinking overall strategy.
Yeah.
Where am I putting pieces? Why am I putting different? Yeah. Well, so that's something that just struck me. That's an interesting correlation, because it sounds like it's almost like you're getting like a purple or like a higher belt in that realm, which is cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. purple, brown, somewhere. In there.
Yeah, I mean, we'll
Not
see.
black yet.
Yeah, black.
Not
Maybe
yet.
that's
Not
like
yet.
that might
Not
be
yet.
billionaire status, black belt. But
Yeah, what is that though? No, because I've heard people debate that before. Like, what is a black belt in business?
Financial.
I was debating this with a buddy of mine. He sold his company for $50 million.
yeah, that's a
And
lot.
I was like, is that a black belt? Like, you're a black belt.
Yeah.
Black belt in my mind. $50 million.
What did he say?
No.
That's probably. I would say that's probably why he's a successful business person. Because if somebody said, yeah, that's a black belt, they probably would have thought that like $1 million or
Right.
maybe even less than that.
Yeah, but
that's a lot of money.
It is personal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because you look at somebody like Elon, and it's like
Yeah.
$50 million.
Yeah.
Oh,
I saw something.
Nice week.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that might be a day for him. I saw something. Some interviewer was like talking about how people are like, "Why'd you buy Twitter? You could have given it to charity." He's like, "Well, I just gave $100 million to charity, and like, how much did they give?" And it's like, that's a good point. Like,
Yeah.
$100 million is a lot of money, man.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
That's what my buddy's view is. It's $100 million.
Yeah.
$100 million. That
Really?
many zeros is black belt.
It'll be interesting to see. I don't know him, obviously. When he gets there, maybe he'll be like, maybe it's 500. And then
Yeah, but then the argument is like, all right, well, where's your first stripe and your
Yeah.
second stripe? You know, because
Yeah.
I've been a black belt, as we talked about earlier, for 9 years.
Yeah.
You know, and there is a big difference.
Yeah.
Right. I do feel like all that
100%.
cliche garbage that I thought, it's crazy when you're a black belt, you're black. No, there's levels to black belt.
Yeah, 100%.
You know? And there's levels to being able to practice as a black belt, right? So you've got like world champion or ADCC champion
Yeah.
level black belt, right? So that's one thing. But then there's, you know, because there's a lot that goes into that. Not only the skill, but also athleticism, and
Yeah.
the mental component, and the drive and discipline to train and you know, stay up on your nutrition and your recovery. I mean,
Yeah.
there's just a lot to that. But then teaching jiu-jitsu is something completely different,
100%.
right? Because now you've got to communicate.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got a guy that we were just talking about, right? If you think you die
Yeah.
in jiu-jitsu, you know, you want to get to the point where everything that you do is subconscious. So then if it's at that point for you, how do you then bring it back to the conscious and
Yeah.
then communicate it, like
Yeah.
put it into words?
That's a
whole
different
different
skill.
Right. Yeah.
100%. I think
So-
it's similar in baseball where they're oftentimes, I would say the vast majority of the time, the best player is not the best coach because in many ways it's almost intuitive to them. They don't even know how to articulate how good they are.
Right.
And so 100% it's a skill to be able to relay that information. And I think you, Coach David, all the other coaches I've worked with here do a phenomenal job of that.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It is a skill, but the thing that I was getting at is that, I've been coaching since I'm purple belt. So purple, brown, black.
How many years is
first
that?
Stripe. Let's see. So started in 2008.
Wow.
So whatever the math is on that, 15 years. I
15
think.
years as a
Yeah,
coach. That's
15
cool.
Years coaching.
Sorry to interrupt again.
Yeah, no. It's good thought experiment.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's been definite, obviously leveling up from purple to brown to black, but then within black, there's been a lot of levels.
Yeah.
So maybe 100 million is black belt.
Hey, we'll see.
And then anything up from there.
Yeah, you
get
should
stripes,
tell them, hey, get there quick, and then let's talk about it.
Yeah.
What's next for you? You're trying to open a third location, maybe? What do you got going on?
Yeah, I think that's the kind of pie in the sky goal right now is 2025.
Cool.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That's awesome.
We'll see. I think 3 is the magic number, though. That's
3?
Yeah.
And then you'll cap it out at that?
Yeah, just be done with that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of people. And another thought I had earlier is even the extent of which y'all are affecting people in a positive way. My brother doesn't come here, never will come here, lives in Austin. I don't even interact with him like we talk on the phone, but
Right.
he started jiu-jitsu because of me, because of you. So that's enough. Like it
That's awesome.
just keeps going down. He's at
Where is he?
10th Planet.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. It's like right next to his house. He loves it so far. I mean, he's another example of like how many minutes he doubted. He went to one class. He's like, dude, I totally understand why you've been freaking out about it.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. But that's all I got, man. I mean, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your
Absolutely.
insight. This has been really fun. I
Yeah.
don't even know how long it's been.
Likewise. Yeah, I don't know.
Just over an hour. Right on. Any last comments? Any last words for the people?
For the people, man, join SBG. Dude.
Yeah.
We're doing it. We're doing it right here.
You really are. I can't say it enough.
That was one of our goals. I think a lot of times when you start in martial arts, you want to, as a coach, right, starting a gym, like you want to earn your stripes, what I mean? You want to go out and you want to get some dubs for the team, let's show that we can do this thing. But our mission was always a little different. Of course we have competitors like we just talked about, 7 guys went out, 6 of them winning, 5 finishes.
Oh, yeah.
But for us, it's about bringing jiu-jitsu to the masses. Mm-hmm. For me, I didn't join jiu-jitsu because I wanted to compete or do anything like that. I had more of a confidence thing, a self-defense thing, that was a motivating factor for me. And so, and then it evolved. But I think really speaking to the everyday individual. I mean, you're an athlete, right? And we love athletes. But also, like, there needs to be a place for you, but there also needs to be a place for that, how old did you say your dad was? 57?
57, yeah.
Yeah, 57-year-old man who wants to participate in this.
Yeah.
Right? So that's always been what we've gone after, and trying to make a place where jiu-jitsu really is for everybody.
Yeah.
So come check us out.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, not talking a lot about jiu-jitsu, but I mean, I actually have 2 buddies right now that are right down the road at Emory Medical School. I'm like, come on, guys, y'all got to do it. It's like just do it. But the gym, fitness, kickboxing is legit. Muay Thai is legit. Jiu-jitsu is legit. I mean, you guys are killing it. So
and before we go, because that was about me. But I do want to hear, because you got your first tournament coming up.
Yep.
It's Saturday.
Yeah.
Are you going Saturday and Sunday? You're doing gi?
Yeah, gi and no gi. Yes, sir. Just got the bracket.
So how do you feel? Yeah, I saw.
Good. I'm excited. I had this little back thing, man. I mean, I was worried a little bit at the beginning of the week. I kind of already resigned to my fate that even if my back hurt, I was going to show up and just like try to trip him or something.
Yeah.
But I'm excited.
Yeah.
I mean,
nervous at all?
A little bit, but honestly, like I mentioned, my goal is not to win ADCC or anything like that. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to compete my balls off.
Yeah.
I'm going to.
You're not worried about the outcome.
No, I mean,
right.
The other thing about this is, like, I'm in the upper. Yeah, I'm in the super ultra heavy. What is it? Yeah. So there's no ceiling. So I mean, I'm fully prepared to walk out there and see like John Maciosi or something, and just like be.
Well, you've got 2 other of our guys in your division.
Yeah, I think I'm actually going with
Isaiah.
I think that's my
Isaiah first round no gi.
No, yeah, and I don't know the gi round, but yeah, I'm excited. It's a slight microcosm of what I felt when I first came to jiu-jitsu, meaning like it's the first of a thing. Like I've never competed. I've never been to a jiu-jitsu tournament. I've never even been to a fight in person.
Yeah.
So
that's a big jump.
Yeah. So it's, well, I mean, but just like I tell people this all the time. The dumbest I've ever felt in my entire life, like that I can remember as an adult, walking in this gym for the first time.
Really?
100%.
Why?
I felt like a fish out of water, and so did my dad. We talked. I felt like I had never done anything close. I'd never been a beginner since I was like 4 or 5 of something. Does that make sense? Like even baseball, I had kind of worked off of, and then started lifting, and then other stuff. Even school, I started doing this thing. I had never done a martial art, no karate, no nothing. I had never boxed. I had never really even watched UFC. Yeah. I just heard enough guys that I respect talk about it. So I'm like, well, we're gonna see. That being said, I think it'll be good. I actually meant to ask you, I mean, we can talk about it if you got time about competition. So what do you think that everybody should compete?
I think everybody that is physically capable should compete.
At least once. Just
get over the hump and do it. And even if you hate it, cool. Never do it again.
Yep.
You don't have to do it again. But give it a go.
Yeah.
Especially if it's just fear that's stopping you, right? And that's why I say if anybody's physically
100%,
capable, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're coming in here and you're old and you just want to do this thing, but it's like that's the reach, that's the stretch for you.
Yeah.
And just do jiu-jitsu, man. We'll take care of you.
Yeah.
But like your age, when I came into jiu-jitsu, like a lot of these guys that we train, one time, give it a go.
Well, I full candor, I plan on doing it many more times than one, but this is just that first one, so we're gonna
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited. Awesome. I mean, this is a big tournament too, right? What is it? The spring.
Yeah, the Spring Atlanta Open is the largest numbers wise for competitors in the Southeast.
Yeah.
So it's
and how many SPG guys we got
turnout. In there? We're over 40.
Wow, just from our 2 gyms?
No, that's including
in total.
Alabama and Athens as well.
Cool. That's still awesome though.
Yeah, so we're coming with a decent team.
How many SPG gyms are there globally?
Oh, I don't know.
Got to be a lot.
40, 50, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in Korea, we're in Australia, we're in Africa, we're in the UK, we're in
McGregor, is that in Ireland?
we got Ireland, and we have Manchester.
Oh, right on.
Yep. And there's a lot in Ireland. Like there's several there. Yeah.
All over the U.S.,
and
obviously.
Canada, U.S. Yeah, I was trying to think as we were talking if we have any in Central and South America, which it's kind of funny in jiu-jitsu we don't have any down there. But
That's
yeah.
kind of, I mean, Brazil specifically is probably a little bit saturated at this point in terms of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the mecca of jiu-jitsu is in Southern Cal.
Really?
So, yeah.
You think even more so than Austin right now? Because I heard Austin's like
that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of studs there.
I heard something like 100 and the number that I remember, so it's probably around there. 168 black belts in the city of Austin right now that are like calling that. I think that was Rogan who said that.
Really?
168 black belts in that city.
We have 17 here
In Atlanta?
SBG.
Oh, actually?
Yeah.
So maybe that's not that big of a number, but
Yeah. I don't know.
what do you think? I mean, yeah, but
I don't
the
know.
point is jiu-jitsu's everywhere. Do more of it.
It is now. I mean, it's crazy. You know, there were like 3 black belts when I started training. They were just like gods.
And you're like, holy crap.
Yeah. And I mean, purple belts were
Yeah.
like legit.
Yeah.
You know, like you saw a purple belt, it was like, oh, it's on.
Have you seen that be diluted throughout the years, or has it kind of been pretty true to form in terms of like the skill level of different belts? Because I feel like a lot of things so far, at least in my life, it's kind of gotten softer, like a little easier to do stuff.
No, it's the opposite.
It's gotten harder, you think?
Hell yeah.
Okay, cool.
Like a purple belt today
Yeah.
would have whooped the shit out of my purple belt Pan American
Really?
self back then. Yeah.
I wouldn't expect that, to be honest.
But that's the beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu, right? I mean, it's there's no way to water it down.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Like if you want to water something down, what do? You change the rule set, you know, or you you just take away things. Right?
Yeah.
Take away. You know, you look at like karate is not a bad martial art. It's just a way a lot of people teach it and train it.
Yeah.
And the competition scene, like, but jiu-jitsu, I mean, you've got the competition you're going to go into, which is like pure jiu-jitsu, and then you have MMA. I mean, it's constant trial by fire. You know? So it's just
always being refined.
Yeah, and people are coming up with new techniques, and yeah, man, the evolution of jiu-jitsu is
awesome.
Crazy.
That's cool to hear, because then you think about like 20 more years, what's it going to be like, you know?
Oh, it's going to be insane because look at these guys. Look at these guys like
Rotello.
Rotello, bro. Oh my God, dude. Like these guys move like it's insane.
100%.
Like they're at one championship, so they're fighting in the cage now. They're like
bouncing off the wall.
Dude, like what are you doing?
I watched a video
It's
of
unbelievable.
I want to say Kate. I can't remember which one. They're both savages. I watched a video of one of them doing like just darces over and over and over, and I'm like, he's throwing them up from you can't even see a dart. You're like, oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Jocko Willink actually, because he's a black belt, been doing it for 20 plus years. He's like, he's seen them do things that he has never seen another human being in 25 years ever before. He's watched it on video and he still can't understand what they're doing, which that's very cool. I never thought about it from that perspective, about it just continue to be refined.
Yeah. Well, because these kids, like, you know, just sticking with Rotello brothers, like they're learning jiu-jitsu when they're developing all the rest of their motor skills.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Like your kids, though.
Oh, yeah, dude. Like Emerson.
When did they start? Three, you said?
No, Emerson's already started jiu-jitsu.
How old is Emerson?
Emerson just turned 8 months.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah, Emerson does triangles
You're talking
every
about the
day.
little baby?
Yeah, little baby. She does triangles every day. She does little
There's
egg beaters
no
with her
way.
legs. She does little hip shifts.
Well, because your wife's obviously blue belt, so that's probably fun at home.
Yeah.
You're joking me, bro.
No, we do that every day with her. I mean, she can't do anything, but we're just moving the body and,
That is
and getting
awesome.
her going. And then what I'll do...
Has she tapped you yet?
Every day, man. I'm already wrapped. Yeah. And then we start putting them on the chest and just moving so they can find their base and
Hey,
start,
maybe you got a little business endeavor there about a little infant jiu-jitsu class.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, man. I don't know. I don't think kids. This is probably I'm probably gonna get a lot of kickback on this, but I think it's very hard to teach kids jiu-jitsu. I mean, here we don't even start teaching kids until they're in 3rd grade.
Yeah. Those kid classes look awesome, though. Honestly, they look
but
great.
it's the age that they can start to do it.
Yeah.
I honestly, all my kids, we do jiu-jitsu at the house with them, but it's not jiu-jitsu. It's moving, it's balance, it's base, it's learning how to stand, to break, fall, just to move with the body.
Yeah.
And then it's gymnastics. We stick them in gymnastics first.
Yeah.
This is my third kid, for the record.
Dude, your kids are gonna be savages. Gymnastics and jiu-jitsu,
because gymnastics, I think, is the best thing for people to learn how to move the body.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
How to move their own weight.
Those guys and girls are some of the freakiest athletes in the world.
It checks all the boxes, right? Strength, mobility, flexibility, endurance.
Translates right to the mats.
Yeah.
I want to reiterate the fact your 8-month-old child does jiu-jitsu. Is throwing up, trying, like, you're...
Yeah, she's moving.
Can you imagine if you, like, see, I look at that, I'm like, can you imagine if I was doing that at 8 months? I'd be a...
But then they gotta stick with it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the other part, you know, because I have a son who's in the Navy, and then I have my daughter who's 12.
Yep.
And, you know, they both were in and out, you know, because I play the long game with my kids. I don't force them into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You know, because if daddy forces them in anything, they're going to hate it.
They're going to run the opposite way.
So I've always, man, this is what I'm doing. You know, there's a requirement. There's a certain requirement, right? Because I just, for their self.
For their, there's a baseline.
Yeah. But whether or not they want to go out and compete or train every day or whatever else, like, that's totally on them.
Yeah.
So most of them have not been super diehard.
Yeah.
Like, my daughter just told me yesterday that she wants to go back and do more Muay Thai again.
How'd that make you feel?
You know,
a little
part
bit.
of me died.
Not too bad. I mean, whatever.
I mean, at least she wants to do martial art. Like, at least, you know, so I'll hold mitts for her.
Yeah.
And then what I'll end up doing is we'll hold mitts for, you know, a few weeks. And I'm like, hey, well, why don't you, let me show you this. Like, jab into a double leg.
Yeah.
You know?
And then work your way back, and then you start showing her, like, some stuff.
Yeah,
that's
like, why don't you add an arm bar?
There was, I think it was Hickson. If you haven't listened to the Jocko Hickson podcast, that's one of my favorite of all time, like, in every single podcast.
Is that the one that it was following the release of Breathe?
Yep. Yeah. Have you read that?
Yeah. I'm
listened to it or something?
Yeah.
See, I want to get into that, but
that was really honest. Like, that book that's what blew me away more than anything else, is how, I mean, he told some family, like, some stuff that, you know, maybe not everybody would have been as honest about.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Yeah, I love Hickson.
That podcast is, that's why I love this podcast. Hickson is an absolute savage, but he's so wise. And what he talks about is when you're getting kids into jiu-jitsu, it should be like zero stress, zero pressure, no nothing, because like you said, it's just going to repel. Right. So they got to find it their own way. But I do have this part of me where I'm like, can you imagine if I was doing it from 8 months old?
Oh, yeah, man. But that's everybody in jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
Like, I started when you started. Yeah. I started at 23. Man, I wish I would have wrestled, or I wish I would have done judo. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've had that daydream, you know? Like, what would I be?
Yeah, in high school, if I was just, like, wasting my time, like, going to judo or something,
But the motivation is always the missing piece, right?
Yeah.
I mean, my kids have all the opportunity in the world. They could all be, they could be studs.
You said most of your house is, or not most of it, but you got a good portion of the house devoted to training.
Oh, yeah.
Which is awesome.
And conditioning, cardio area.
Which is awesome.
The mats, the bags. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Get after it. Like a family dinner. All right, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we love that.
Well, I appreciate it, Coach. That's
that was awesome.
heck of a time, man. Thank you so much.
We'll shake it.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it.